Welcome back, everybody, to On the Perf, brought to you by Atlas Gunworks. We're going to have a good one today. I'm really excited about today's topic. But before we get to today's topic, Mr. Maxwell, how's life treating you, buddy? What have you been up to?
I'm good, man. Just got back in from the road on my way home from a conference and came right into the door to burn one of these out. So
nice.
Always glad to always good to get on the mic and do one of these. It's a I don't know. I hope it's as fun for the listeners as it is for us.
I sure hope so, man. I'm the last one we laid down was a little rough for me. I was pretty full send flu symptoms. I'm almost over it. I'm at the point now where my body mostly feels normal, and I just have a really bad sore throat and feel like my tongue is made out of gravel or something. But I'm getting better. We're almost back to normal. We're on the mend, and we're stoked for today's episode. So today's episode, I brought this idea to Maxwell at a let's call it not a shithole, but the opposite of a fancy Mexican restaurant.
So like a normal Mexican restaurant.
I don't know. I'd say this is a couple notches down.
It's a locals Mexican restaurant.
Sure. However you want to say it. Anyways, Mr. Maxwell and I were in a Mexican restaurant, and I was asking if you've ever heard of the Instagram page Jerry of the Day. And not being much of a skier, Maxwell hadn't. What Jerry of the Day is, in addition to being one of the best Instagram pages ever, it's basically a page dedicated to skiers who are just blowing it. So this is people who are... They're on the mountain, they're skiing, they're doing the thing, but anybody who knows what they are doing can just glance at them and instantly know that this person just does not have their shit together. Like, this is a person that goes skiing with the family once a year. Like, they kind of have the gear, they kind of know where to go, they're probably eating like a $2,000 sushi dinner that night, but like, they just are blowing it. So I'm talking like leaving your skis on while you walk across the gravel parking lot, helmet on backwards, things along those lines. If you're a skier, you know exactly what I'm talking about. All sports have this. Doesn't matter what sport you're into. I'm a rock climber. There's plenty of signs that you can just walk up to a crag or a gym and just look around and be like, those people over there are going to be a problem. Like, they do not have their stuff screwed together right. So we started thinking about it, and we're like, what would be the equivalent for competition shooting? And it's not like a Timmy thing. It's not like you came to a shooting match and, you're, all decked out in kit or something like that. I'm talking about people who are...
Although that would be a sign.
That would be a sign.
But that's not this.
That's not this. That's a symptom, but that's not the disease. So what we're talking about is just anything where you can just like glance at a person or hear something that a person says and just immediately know that, like, yeah, this person isn't winning anything. They might time out. They might break the 180. That, like, this person is about to shoot some stage plan that nobody in their right mind would come up with. Like, that person. And the problem with this is we can't call it Jerry of the Day, because in our world,
a couple of reasons.
Yeah, a couple of reasons, but mostly in our world, Jerry is a revered name. I would not bring shame to that man's name so much as to call this idea Jerry of the Day. So for the short term here, we're going to call this Gary of the Day, and this might turn into a bit of a thing. But if you guys have any ideas on what we should call this afterwards, leave them up in one of our social medias, and we'll
take it under advisory.
See if we can come up with. Yeah, exactly. But for right now, it's going to be Gary of the Day. So the thing that I opened it up with. So that's where I want to
caveat too that we're not doing this to make fun of people. Like, our community is really small and our audience is even smaller, so people could probably figure out like real first person examples of who we're talking about. This comes from a place of love, all right? Because we want you to get better, and these are probably things that are hindering your good time if you're doing
and these
them.
are things that I've done most of these.
Oh, heck yeah. Oh, yeah,
Like,
I've done a bunch of these,
we've all gone through this phase. We both know people who are super high level. Like, I just glanced at the list really quick. There's like 5 things on this list that Brian Nelson does right now. Like this
Also,
isn't.
yes.
And in many ways, Jerry, despite having more national champions than I've shot matches, if somebody didn't know who Jerry was and rolled in and looked at,
If you
that
showed
old
up
guy
to a
shooting-
match wearing what Jerry wears,
yeah,
you would
nobody would.
you'd get pointed out immediately.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He can pull it off because he's Jerry and you're not.
But this is
that's
like,
exactly it.
I equate this to like being a freshman, like in high school or college. Like, no matter what you did, you could not hide that you were a freshman. Everyone sophomore and above knew it from, they look you up and down one time and they knew. There was nothing you could do, nothing, like, you couldn't hide it. I get people sometimes be like, oh, I dry fire, whatever, blah, 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 or I shoot these many rounds a year. And I'm like, no, you don't. They're like, well, no, yeah, I do. I'm like, no, stop. No, you don't. Start over again.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you know?
100%.
I can just tell.
Because I know what somebody looks like after they shoot 30,000 rounds a year.
Yeah. Nobody who shoots 30,000 rounds a year touches a handgun that way.
Yeah, 100%. So, we brainstormed a little. We're just gonna pull some off of our heads here as well, but I'm gonna open it up with
on the text message. This is a list I have to scroll to see the whole thing. So
yeah, and we created this list in about 5 minutes.
Yeah. And one margarita.
This will be a ever expanding list. This list is sort of like the universe. It's expanding faster than you can comprehend. Well, that landed better than I thought it was going to. So, the one that hit me, that made me start this whole thing. So that's why I wrote it down first. If you are making ready and you put your mag into your gun with your dominant hand, so if you are a right-handed shooter and you load your rifle or your pistol by pulling a mag out of your pocket and put it into the gun with your dominant hand, immediately everybody on that squad knows this person is not a threat and they are about to do some really sketchy stuff.
This is a Gary.
Very, very, very good sign of that. So if you're doing that, maybe stop doing that. I would recommend having a very standardized make ready process that looks eerily similar to your actual reload on a stage, that doesn't involve holding your firearm with your non-dominant hand and inserting the mag with your dominant hand. It just looks really, really awkward.
Well, and it's innocent enough. And the reason that nobody does it is because usually your holster, like your pistol holster, is on that side. So it's like occupying at least one of your macro pockets on your pants. And yeah, you have to usually hold the gun with that hand. So like just having to transfer from one hand to the other, that's your first clue that it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And that is a totally innocent thing that makes you stand out immediately.
Yeah, and I've even had to I've had to pull mags out of my right rear pocket on like giant Ironman stages where just every inch of real estate is used up, and that's like where my admin load comes from. And I will still like pull a mag out of that pocket, switch hands with it, and then grab my firearm and load it like I'm normally going to. Like I'm always going to put the mag into my firearm with my support hand. That's just the way that it goes.
The one that jumps off the list for me right away, anyone who shows up with a Beretta 92.
Ooh.
Like, I'm sorry. Just,
Ooh.
you can't come back from that one.
Ooh.
Like, only Ben pulled that off. And
JJ's kind of pulling it off.
Is he, though?
I mean,
he's kind of like Jerry.
Us, yeah.
He can kind of do whatever he wants. But, like,
that's the thing. Like,
anybody who's not jerseyed up that rolls up with a Beretta 92, like, it usually warrants a step back.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I would say that's a good indication if there's some Gary of the Day stuff. If you see a person on the line and you just like, I'm gonna go load my mags now, and you just like don't want to be there anymore.
Not that we're saying anyone's gonna get shot, but like if I'm standing on the 180 line, I'm just I'm gonna take a step back.
Gonna give it a few degrees. Gonna give it a few degrees. Yeah. Yeah. Going back to the match we just shot. So we just shot Battle for the South last weekend. And every division was basically open division.
Yeah, so we had a lot of first time open people.
Yeah, so you saw a lot of open shenanigans, and I would say open shooters who want to use all the things on all the stages.
Well, the first time that you shoot open, it's kind of like that day you realized that boys and girls were different. Like it's just kind of an epiphany for people. So when it's your first time out of the box in open, just like it's a whole new world of possibilities, and you want to try them all.
Yeah. So I think the most the one that stuck out to me the most was like just making a freaking pillow fort out of PRS bags.
Yeah.
Like if you're just all the open guys get together and stack up the PRS
move.
bags to make some prop slightly less whatever, and then you just have a pyramid of soft bat. Like, I mean, maybe better, but
no,
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think it's worth it.
If you have to use more than 2 pillows, you're probably wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. As soon as, I mean, I don't know. I think a 3-gun, if you use 2 pillows, you're probably wrong. Like,
well, yeah, I was giving them a little margin.
Yeah. I think if you're using more than a bag, you should really consider what you're doing. And you should even consider whether you need a bag or not. Because any bit of stability that you add, you pay for that in time in terms of setup. So whatever, like, setup time, meaning get into that position and actually, like, utilizing that, like, support structure, that costs you extra time. So if you're going to absorb that, or if you're going to have that time, you need to absorb that time with more aggressive shooting or more accurate shooting, or it needs to translate into less stage time, even though you're giving up positional time. Like it needs to be a serious benefit to your shooting, is what I'm trying to say.
And bonus round, if you can describe the construction of the pillow fort with the trade names of all the pillows. All right, so I'm going to start with an utter bag, and then I'm going to put a game changer on it over here, and then blah, blah, I don't even know all the names of the bags because I'm not a Jerry. But like when someone starts describing to me this castle that they're going to build with all the bags in their truck, I'm like, oh man, that's going to be hard. Yeah. Don't time out, Brad.
Yeah, 100%. What you got for us, Maxwell?
Excessive use of military jargon, especially if you're not in the military currently.
Ooh. Does how much leeway do you get if you used to be in the military, but it's just really important to you that everybody knows?
None. You're still a Jerry. You're straight up Gary if you're using military jargon, excessive military jargon, on the 3-gun range.
Yep. What if you actually shoot for the AMU?
They don't talk like that. They're a bunch of party animals.
Yeah, that's my freaking point. The military guys who show up to the match representing the military don't talk in military jargon when they're there.
Oh, dude. You know what'd be sick?
Yeah, 100%. Oh, man. I'm oh, God. I'm not going to bring up this story. This is a story for another time. We'll break out this one later.
Yeah. Any amount of acronyms. If sergeant doesn't have a G in it. Excessive use of downrange.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I would say, super Gary move. One of the make everybody back up moves. When you unload and show clear, and then you point the gun straight at the ground next to your feet to hammer down before you holster.
Yes.
that is the cops in practical shooting competition special right there. I RO'd the Not a Cop 2-gun match out here last fall, which was an awesome match, but RO'd one of the stages. I saw that move, either that or somebody would show me clear, like hold the gun out to me Charlie's Angel style, show me a clear chamber, and then drop the slide and then pull the trigger with the gun facing straight up into the air. The point of pulling the trigger on an empty chamber is to make sure that the chamber is empty.
By discharging the round that you left in there.
If somehow there actually was a round in that chamber and all the other steps failed, this is like the surefire, there's definitely nothing in there. If something was in there, you want that round to go into the back berm. You don't want it to go into the ground right next to your foot. You don't want it to go straight into the air. So, 4-5 safety rules,
Yeah.
Point the gun and pull the trigger towards a thing that you're willing to shoot.
Yeah, that one is super innocent, but it's seriously not funny. Don't do that.
Yeah, super don't do that. That one will make the butt pucker real fast, like diamond forming territory for sure. All right, what you got for us, Maxwell?
Any use of the phrase "kilt in the streets" not in a joke form. slash using of cover.
Did you see Joe Farrell's Instagram like 20 minutes ago?
I did not. I was driving, sir.
So it was just this long, I don't know if it was a YouTube comment or an Instagram comment, but he just like put it up. He was just doing like a reload, like a normal reload. Drop the mag as you're grabbing another mag, put the mag in the gun. And the dude just went on a diatribe about how, well, sometimes your mag sticks in your grip, and if you do this, then you won't be able to strip it out because your non-dominant hand's going to be full with your mag, and you won't, you're going to have to drop that mag on the ground and strip the gun and get it clear. And so this is a unnecessary step only used for this gamer stuff and isn't real life. It just like this, I can't remember the whole thing, but it was pretty full send. It was fantastic.
You know what else isn't real life, dude? You existing outside your mom's basement.
Yeah. I've only had like a couple comments like that on my YouTube or Instagram or anything so far. Like in all these years, there's only been a couple. There was a video though that I did back in the TPC days. We were teaching a class out there, and it was like 120 degrees in St. George when this class was going on. Like bad enough that we just like went into the office and did dry fire for like a huge portion of it because we're going to kill people. Like nobody's surviving this. Like Ken was just driving to the store and buying like freaking ice cream pops for everybody, like every 3 hours. It was a heinous class. It was so hot. And so I had this like golf umbrella that's designed to like clamp onto a post on a golf bag, so you can like roll your thing around and or on a golf cart or something and just have like a little bit of shade. And so as a joke, I clamped that. It turns out to fit onto a A2 buffer tube perfectly. And I run those XLR stocks where the buffer tube is exposed. So I just like clamped it onto that thing. So my rifle had an umbrella on it. And I, shot some drills like that, just for fun. And so I took that video and I like posted it up on Instagram or whatever. And I was like, hey, this is my new invention. I need to come up with a name for it. And we had a long diatribe, went back and forth between the Tactical and the Gumbrella. Not sure which one of those is better, but they're both pretty good. And anyways, like, I don't know, like a month later, something like that, I'm like scrolling through Instagram and I see my video on like some Tactical whatever Instagram page. And I'm like, what the fuck? And it's just like, me with my little umbrella thing. It had 900 comments on it. All of them talking about how I was such a bitch. I was a total pussy. I had no business being on the range. Or that would never work because one gust of wind and it would throw your shot off and it's going to change the recoil impulse of your rifle. And like just rows and rows and rows of people telling me what a fucking idiot. And I was like, wow, no sense of sarcasm over here at all. Like, nothing at all.
I don't know. My YouTube video with the most views on it is one that compares Atlas to Staccato, and there's a lot of butthurt on that particular one. But I haven't really got any spicy comments like that. However, I'll do you one better.
Ooh.
I was on the Vortex Nation podcast. This was a couple years ago already. We were talking about AR-15s, and I referenced.
Oh, I know the one.
Oh, you do?
I know exactly where this is going, but you should lay it out there.
So now our listeners here, you have a conundrum, because you could either go find this video, but then you'd be giving this guy a click. So, I cited some information that was given to me by an engineer who designs firearms. At the time, he was with a major AR-15 company, like a big one, and he went to another very large firearms company based in Connecticut. And now he works for, let's say, a DoD ordnance company, all right? So, like, not an engineer at, like, your recent upstart, gun shop or whatever. He explained this to me, how the AR-15 cycles, the pressure that cycles the action is the pressure in the barrel, and then what comes through the gas tube or through a transfer rod on a piston gun, that's to unlock the bolt to release all that pressure. And that's really all it does. This guy made a video, I kid you not, on YouTube. It is Adam Maxwell is full of shit. And he is trying to demonstrate how I am wrong. And I don't think he really pulled it off.
Well, didn't he tried to demonstrate that you're wrong by taking the extractor off the bolt?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like the people in marketing were the ones that found it. They're like, "Hey, like that thing you said, is that really true?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I cited my source, and they're like, "Oh, okay, because there's this guy on here. He's kind of losing his shit." He made that video, and I completely forgot about it until the other day. I don't know. I started to search something that started with A, and it like popped up in the beginning of my like auto populate on YouTube, and I was like, "Oh yeah,
man,
I forgot about that."
Adam's lying to you guys. He was sitting around Googling his own name like he does. He's
yeah.
like, ooh.
Yeah. See if I'm cool yet.
I one time just to, I was messing with ChatGPT and just playing around with that, because like that kind of came into being like while Jen and I were on the road trip. So then I like came back, into the working world, and everyone's like, dude, you need to be using this if you're in a profession that allows it, because, you'll spend 5 hours reformatting 12 files into a readable format, or you can just like dump it in there and be like, fix this. And so it's actually great for that kind of stuff. But so I was just like kind of playing around with it, and I was asking it like weird questions, and just to sort of see like what weird answers it would give me. So I'd ask it something that I knew a ton about, like climbing or shooting or something. And then I was like, oh, I'm curious. So I just put down, who is Adam Reiser? And it gave me this long thing about, oh, Adam Reiser is a professional 3-gun shooter with sponsors and blah, 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 blah. And gave me like a very campy PG-13 version of like, what I am online. But there's also went off on a very long tangent about how I'm also a professional bass fisherman and an expert in all these other things. And I'm like, the hell? And apparently there's an Adam Reiser who's a professional bass fisherman as well. So
okay, so AI doesn't have it all figured out yet.
AI does not have it all figured out. No, it does not. And a lot of the stuff that it stated about either one of us was not true. So as far as I can tell.
To date, yeah. I have not. I wouldn't even know how to use Chat GPT. I wouldn't even know.
Well, he can't even say it. So
yeah, I have
not
no.
Be able to use it.
I get the reference, but that's about all I know.
Yeah, it's pretty good for like turn the information in this spreadsheet into like a document that I can reformat kind of thing. It's great for that stuff. Yeah, I think I gotta say, man, I think as soon as you have haters, that means that you've made it.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you don't have haters, then you're not doing anything. You're not doing it yet.
Exactly. All right, is it your turn or is it my turn?
I'll go.
Go for it.
Well, we put showing up with a war belt on here.
Ooh.
So that is
War belt.
the super wide padded belts, usually with molly to thread things on, and then usually some combination of an IFAK kit and a tourniquet on the back.
And a dump pouch.
Although, I mean, I use a dump pouch, so Adam's probably going to rock me at some point. A dump pouch is not. It's a symptom. It's not a. It's not a prerequisite. It's not the disease. But
That's right. That's right.
But yeah, and then it's not that it's even wrong. Again, it shows that you're a Gary if you show up with your war belt, trying to train as you fight. It's like, oh, okay, new guy.
Yep. Although, I will admit, battle belts look kind of comfortable and sort of convenient.
They are getting better.
Every once in a while,
they have evolved
every
a
once
lot.
in a while, I'll like, yeah. I mean, it used to be like the battle belt with the suspenders with like the weirdness on it. Like, there's still a couple dudes that like OG guys that shoot 3-gun in a rig like that, and I'm like, hey man, they've gotten way better than that. But yeah, is what it is. Well, I'll stick with the belt theme. Mags in the mag pouch facing the wrong direction.
Yes.
Like, bullets forward, boys and girls, on the pistol mags anyways.
Yeah.
Bullets backwards in the rifle mags.
Or mixing orientations, so they're not all pointed the same direction.
Oh, yes, that is my favorite, where they're just like
one
totally
forward,
random.
one back. Makes nice little teepee in your mag pouch.
I've been privy to somebody running a backwards Glock mag into a Glock so hard that it was like a shut down the stage, have 2 people hold the gun on the safe table while 2 other people pull on the mag type thing to get it out of there. Like, it was like it needed traction to come out. It was like just full send reload, and he got like halfway in. Yeah, he got like halfway into the gun before it stopped. It was quite impressive. I was very impressed. Also, I've seen a lot of people rocking, especially for some reason, open shooters, with their mags tilted forwards instead of backwards. So like the way
towards
that
your belly button and not away.
Yes. So like a mag that's on your left hip that's leaning forwards. And so the way that you are supposed to set up your mags, let's say, I'm trying to figure out how to describe this in the podcast. So if you hold your arm, if you hold your elbow, you lock your elbow down by your side, kind of where it would be, and then you just lower, you make an L shape, so your thumb is by underneath your right nipple, and then you just start bringing your hand down until it reaches your waist. As you bring your arm now around your waist, you bring your elbow back, whatever angle your forearm is at should in theory be basically the angle that the mags are at when you get to that position. I did a terrible job just describing that. But essentially, if you're like OG open shooter where you have mags all the way across the front, each mag should in theory be at a little bit steeper angle, and you shouldn't have a vertical mag until you're all the way behind your left hip. If you have the space to do it and you're setting up everything for like maximum ergonomics. Now, that's not the way that I set mine up, because I'm a 3-gun shooter. I usually have a bunch of other stuff in my belt. I have little real estate to work with, all those things. But ideal circumstances, that's how it should be. So every mag on your belt should either be leaning towards the back or vertical. I can't honestly think of a reason why a magazine should lean forwards.
And the same goes for your pistol.
Yes, the same goes for your pistol.
What?
You should not be rocking the good old FBI cant where the muzzle's facing 15 degrees behind you.
Yeah, like
Don't do that.
it gets me to this day. Like the point of the FBI cant is so the thing you can get it at the right. It makes sense if you wear it behind your hip, but at the point of the hip or in front of the point of the hip, I don't get. At conferences, I see people wearing FBI cant holsters near their appendix. And I just don't understand how it got there, because if you were a good shooter, it wouldn't be there, obviously. And if you were lazy, it wouldn't be comfortable for it to be there. So I don't understand why they put it there. But yeah, FBI can't holsters in the front. If you need reference, Alec Baldwin in The Departed does this, and that would foreshadow things later in his acting career that he is definitely Gary material.
Yes, accidentally shooting the camera person to death is definitely Gary material. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, I would say that counts as Gary material for sure.
I mean, the signs were there. We should have stopped him as a community and like had an intervention. And look what happened.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah, on the same holster, I would say rocking the Uncle Mike's nylon holster with the button strap. That's about as Gary as it gets right there. Although, again, just because you're doing some Gary stuff doesn't mean you actually are a Gary. So it wouldn't be on the perf without Get Your Drink Ready, MGM Iron Man. I was shooting there one year, and I think was I shooting tack? I think I was shooting limited, and it was during the Oholt match. So the way that Iron Man used to be is one weekend would be all the tack shooters, the other weekend would be everybody else. So every other division was one weekend, and then one weekend was only tack. So a lot of people would shoot tack on one weekend, and then they would stick around, and then they would shoot some other division on the other weekend. And Daniel Horner was famous for coming in and winning open and winning tack, basically winning open with tack gear, which he did pretty regularly.
This is
so anyways,
peak Daniel Horner.
Yeah, peak Daniel Horner, just full Terminator mode. And so one year, Dan actually borrowed an open pistol from one of the other AMU guys. And this is like OG saddle ride Seymour Dot humongous comp slide racker open pistol like nobody rolls with anymore, and didn't have a holster. Video is still on YouTube. Yep. Anyways, Dan had that AMU custom shop open pistol stuffed in an Uncle Mike's holster, zip tied to his belt, because he didn't have an open holster that would work for a 3-gun match. So they stopped at a freaking Cabela's or something on the way down and got an Uncle Mike's holster that fit the thing.
Oh my God.
He shot the whole match like that.
I swear, like the AMU multi-gun squad, I would consider them my friends. I would hope they'd say the same of me. My brothers in Christ, you guys show up with the most Gary gear ever. They just pile out of whatever rental car they got, and like,
dude,
they just kind of
rocking the tactical minivan.
I don't know. Their stuff, if you look at it up close, is so cobbled together. It's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing that because it's so used. Like it's at everything is on like the last 10% of its life somehow, but it keeps holding on. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what happens when you shoot 100,000 rounds a year, right?
Yeah.
But he, like, how many years did he run that mag lower? Like, he had 30 different uppers and barrels through that thing. But he still had that exact same mag lower for like the first 5 years of my shooting career.
I should ask him.
It was just dying. It was absolutely dying. Well, I asked him one time. He was shooting a CTR02 upper on the mag lower.
Yep.
With like a proof barrel.
Yep.
And I was like, Dan, why did you have access to everything? Like, this build doesn't make any sense. That's like the burliest milled upper out there. And you have like the, at the time, super lightweight, mega cut all the ounces lower. Like, why did you put those together? And he literally went, well, when I needed to build a new receiver set, I just reached into the box of parts, and those are the first two things that came out. So I put them together. And I'm like, oh, so you don't care at all?
Yeah, like, it's appalling how little they think about some of this stuff compared to what other people, and then how much they've thought about things that nobody has thought anything about.
100%, and that's like a really good indication for all this stuff too. It's like Dan, he could have had anything during that time.
Still can.
Yeah, and still can't. Well, now he's shooting for SIG. So
oh yeah, he kind of boxed
has to
himself
shoot
in
SIG,
there
right?
a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, but that's fine. And but like at the time, he could have shot anything, and he was like, "I'm gonna just open up the box of parts, and I'm gonna pull an upper and lower and put them together, because I'm gonna shoot well enough that it's not gonna matter." It's like I remember listening to a podcast with Tyler Payne on it when T-Pain was like the sniper competitor. Before him and Dan started doing all the team stuff together, it was just T-Pain going out and just like breaking people's hearts. And he shot some super weird caliber, and I don't remember what it was. But he's like, oh yeah, I shoot a a whatever the heck it is. Like let's say 6 arc, even though it wasn't that. He's like, oh yeah, I shoot a 6 arc out of this surgeon rifle and blah blah blah. And the guy's like, oh cool, like what kind of accuracy are you getting out of it? He's like, oh, we're like just under 3/4 of a minute. And the guy was just like floored. It was like, this is like a PRS podcast. And he's like, you're shooting a 3/4 minute rifle? And he's like, yeah, it's fine. And he goes, he's like, why don't you shoot a different caliber or have them hand load or something like that? Like, why are you shooting a 3/4 minute rifle? Why don't you have a 1/4 minute rifle? Like, you have the best gunsmiths in the world, like in the shop next door to your barracks. Like, what are you doing? And he's like, well, when I walked into the armory, the shelf that had the most ammo on it that was applicable to our sport was this ammo, and I put it in that gun, and it was under an inch, and that's all we need. So I can spend the next couple months trying to make it a 1/4 minute gun, or I can spend that time practicing. And the guy was just like floored. He's like, yeah, I mean, I guess you're right. He's like, yep.
Well, same thing. Dan had a quote like that one time, because you see kids back in the olden timey times, we used to load the shells one at a time. You'd grab 4 shells in your hand and you'd kind of rock them in there one at a time. We'll call it underhand loading with your weak hand. That was the most popular technique. And for a while, before he started quad loading, Dan was even older school than that, and he would do it with his strong hand. So I almost call it like strumming a banjo. Like he would thumb them from underneath.
Yeah.
It kind of looked like he was playing a guitar. And so he was the only one doing it that way back then. And someone was like, Dan, when you going to learn how to quad load instead of doing that, janky technique, whatever that you do? And he's like, well, when someone beats me, I guess I will.
Yeah.
Like,
that's exactly it. It's like, work on the things that you have to work on. Well, the other holster that obviously belongs on this list is the Serpa holster. We can't
Tex Grebner.
we can't not have it here.
We're not here to ridicule you, bud, but you are the poster child.
Yeah. Sorry, buddy. Sorry. I don't know what to tell you. All right. What you got, Maxwell?
If you roll up with combat boots.
Ooh.
And I shot combat boots for a long time. But man, when I first started, like everybody was wearing them. Now, like, we know better.
Yeah.
Operators don't even wear
we're
combat
athletes.
boots
Athletes
anymore.
don't wear combat boots. Even high-level combat people don't wear combat boots.
Yeah. You know what they wear? Solomon's.
Yeah, exactly. Because you know what you have to do sometimes? Run. It sucks to run in combat boots. Yeah, if you're just like humping loads, sure. That's not the sport that we're playing. That's not the sport that we're playing at all. One of my very favorites. Nothing to do with gear. I love the Gary stuff that has nothing to do with gear.
Yes.
Simulating recoil during your walkthrough. Like walking through going pew, 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 pew. And like watch a high level shooter do their walkthrough, and they are simulating all of their movement. They're looking at the target, they're bringing their hands up. And the only thing in their hands that they're going to be moving is their trigger finger. Excuse me. Got the hiccups all of a sudden. You are simulating pulling the trigger. The gun will do the recoiling part. You don't need to simulate that. It'll do that for you.
Yeah. You don't have to pre-program the flinch.
Yeah, exactly. All you're doing is pre-programming a flinch response to pulling the trigger. Like, don't do that. Do not simulate recoil. I'm okay with making pew sounds. I've done some of those, but only simulate the things that you are actually going to do. Don't simulate any of the things that you're not going to do.
My favorite.
Yeah, simulating recoil is the best.
My favorite on the walkthrough gun sounds. I think I was squatted with Nils and Jessica Johannesson, and they had I think it was them. They had just gotten back from somewhere exotic.
Pretty sure you just butchered Nils' name.
Probably. I'm sorry, Nils.
Yeah.
I know your first name.
Nils, I'm pretty sure it's Jonathan. Let me know if I also butchered your name.
I'm just stoked that Nils knows my name. Like, I walked by in a match and they're like, "Hey, Adam," and I'm like, "Yes." But they had just gotten back from somewhere international, and they're walking through, and while they're doing their walkthroughs, they're going baka 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 bing baka baka.
Yes.
And I'm like,
yes.
And someone was like, "What are you doing?" It's like, "Oh, we were just like in the Philippines or something." And they, with their accent, they can't say pew. So they can't say pew pew. So they say baka baka. And so like we would show them something, then they'd be like,
"That is so
oh, good. Baka 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 baka. Baka bing baka baka." Because they couldn't say pew.
You know where my brain immediately goes?
Yeah.
Durka Durka.
Muhammad Jihad.
Durka Durka, Muhammad Jihad.
And that's the whole weekend was like, oh, baka bing, baka baka, you know.
Oh, God, that's so good. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. Oh, God, that's fucking awesome.
You skipped one. Are you gonna do Haji's Don't Wear White?
Oh,
that one was pretty
good.
I
forgot about Haji's Don't Wear White. So this was the going back to the military lingo thing. So me and Eric Seo, shout out to my boy, my original shooting partner. He, I think, was asking to have some steel painted or to shoot earlier. That's right. So we were shooting a match out at the farm here. And we were both limited shooters at the time. We'd only been shooting for like a season. And at the back 40 is where they call it. You can get out to like 380 yards. And so we're shooting limited, little tiny targets. The sun's kind of setting behind a berm. They're in the shade. And they're painting the targets after each squad. This was like kind of a local major, right? And it was a Cedar Valley multi-gun. And so anyways, Eric's like, "Hey man, is it cool if me and Adam shoot first since we're limited shooters? It's like a huge difference to us if we can see the targets painted white or if the targets have had a whole squad shoot through and now they're all gray." And everyone's like, "Yeah, sure." And then there's this one dude that was like back from deployment and and he just goes, "You know, in my experience, Hajis don't wear white." And we're just both like, okay. He's like, "Just saying." All right. That's super good to know, dude. We're not shooting Hajis. We're shooting steel. Sometimes steel gets painted white. And it's like a huge competitive disadvantage if you shoot when it's gray. So can we still paint it? He's like, "If you want." Like, all right, cool. Like that was the interaction.
Wuss.
So yeah. Now whenever some steel shot up on a long range, one will just be like, "Yep, Hajis don't wear white." Jesus.
Oh my gosh.
All right, bust it out. What you got, son?
Showing up with any non-1 power capable scope on your rifle.
So describe a non-1 power capable scope.
So someone who's very clever and open is like, "Oh, I have a red dot, so I don't need 1 power. I have the red dot for all the close stuff, so I'm going to put like a 3-15 on top of my 3-gun rifle and just crush the long range." It's never the move. It's never the move.
It's never the move. First of all, you don't need 15 power.
No.
Like on what 3-gun stage do you need 15 power?
Also a Gary move, using 15 power on stage.
Yeah, 100%. I have dialed my 1 to 10 to 10 power for exactly 2 targets since I got it. and they were both in excess of 500 yards.
And I was always panicking.
Yeah. Yeah. This is one of those things that as time goes on, the non-Gary things become the Gary things. So like back in the day before, like when a 1-4 was the only one power scope you could get, there were people that were doing like the 3-9 on top and like offset irons or, something along those lines.
It was a thing.
And that was a thing that was executed by some pretty high level shooters for the day. That's not a thing anymore.
Yeah.
So
it's pre-Benghazi.
Really good. Yeah, I would say if you're looking at like match footage, or you're looking at photos or something like that and be like, oh, this guy's a national champion, and you're like breaking down his kit. For example, if it's a photo of Craig Outson and he still has a mohawk, don't use anything that man is using in that photo.
Craig would tell you not to use anything he's using.
Craig would tell you. Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's like all of this stuff advances, and some of it advances at quite a fast rate. But, just because somebody was shooting some super cool thing on 3-Gun Nation, during the TV days doesn't mean that that's necessarily the move anymore. So be careful where you get your information from. Maybe run it past somebody who's a contemporary high-level shooter and understands the difference between those two things.
Hit us up at ontheperfpodcast@gmail.com. We'll set you straight.
Yeah, we'll set
friends,
you straight. We'll
friends don't let friends Gary,
No. Yes, exactly. Man, I would say pretty much any reference to slowing down and getting your hits is like immediate Gary action. That just curdles my blood every time. I've heard some great ones about that. What was the one that you said about slow, smooth as fast is what slow people say?
Yeah, that's Kalani Laker.
Yeah, it's Kalani Laker. Man, I just heard one like an hour ago, and I can't for the damn life of me remember what it was, but it was freaking hilarious. It's gonna kill me.
When it's almost getting to the point that predictive shooting is like the flip side of this coin. People trying to decide at what distance do they stop predictive shooting. Yeah, I was in a serious law enforcement class today actually, and somebody asked me about it. It's a great training tool. And it's an intermediate to advanced way of thinking about things. But yeah, like Gary's asking like at what distance do you stop predictive shooting? It's like your references to predictive shooting. People who are using predictive shooting well aren't referencing predictive shooting at the match. Like that's a training tool. Yeah. It's not a match tool.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I want to address something about predictive shooting here anyways too, because I heard some people at the match discussing it, and it was during the second day when I was very sick and did not have the mental fortitude to engage in a stimulated conversation to the extent that I could have persuaded them any differently. So I just left it alone. But predictive shooting is not, as I run past the target, I put the dot on there and I pull the trigger twice and I run away.
It's not a double tap.
Predictive shooting is I am firing the gun faster than I can confirm my second sight picture before I'm already on the road to pressing the trigger and can't get that thing back. But that doesn't mean you don't see where the dot was the second time.
Yeah.
Like if you're like, in theory, any splits under like 18 are essentially predictive shooting, because like you cannot, like human physiology tells us that you cannot see fast enough and react fast enough to fire the gun, let the dot return, see exactly where the dot's at, make a decision to fire the gun again and fire the gun again in less than 0.20 seconds. So essentially anything under 20 is technically speaking predictive shooting. That doesn't mean that you don't see the dot the second time though. Like you see the dot both times, you just committed to sending another shot before you saw that the dot was actually there. So you're kind of like task stacking. You're sort of like seeing the dot as you're pressing the trigger instead of seeing the dot and then pressing the trigger. It's kind of like that where like on the Jenga run stage, if you go like watch my match footage online, there's a couple of targets where it's like da 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 da, and then on one of them I went da da. I shot the next one da da, and then swung back and threw an extra round at one that I had just shot twice because I knew that second shot wasn't on the paper. And turns out my third follow-up shot also wasn't on the paper, but I was kind of swinging for the fences on that stage a little bit, and maybe ran it off the road. But the point is, I knew that I didn't see the dot on the paper when the gun went off.
You called a bad shot.
So even though I called a bad shot at like a 14 split,
yeah,
I went, but and I knew the second one wasn't there. Like, you are still seeing the dot both times. You're just not waiting for the confirmation to make the gun go off again. That is what predictive shooting really is. It's not, I put the sights on there and I hammer the gun twice and I leave. That's not predictive shooting. That's hoping.
Yeah. To me, it's a tool. It's a tool to force you out of your comfort zone, right? Like to push performance a little bit farther, to see where wheels fall off kind of thing, or to push your, like Adam's talking about, your visual processing skills. I use it as a tool to get guys shooting. I get them shooting with carbines in about an hour and a half. I can get most average people shooting carbines on this one drill that we do. They're shooting, somebody's going to shoot a 19 or an 18, and that's when we have our come to Jesus. And then I'll ask them, so there's somebody, at least some number of people have experienced 17s, 18s, 19s. And then I'll ask them, how fast do you think an M4 fires, a full auto M4, when it's going slick lick? And they'll say something crazy like 0.10, or 12 or something like that. I've measured it several times with several sample size of many. It's exactly 0.15. And so when you're shooting at that speed, kind of what Adam's talking about, it's like he's shooting 14s, 15s, 17s, visually processing all of that at full auto speed. All right. So it's not just Jesus take the wheel. It's a tool used to get you shooting at that point so that you can visually process what's going on at that pace. And you can diagnose stuff. A lot of times it's used as a diagnostic tool, or it's a visual experience tool to track the dot under that speed. But like I say, I mean, you can absolutely, if you haven't shot that fast, it seems kind of preposterous. But when I get these guys doing this, I ask them, well, how fast do you think a full auto M4 is? And they'll tell me, 10, 12. I'm like, it's 15. And I'm like, you're shooting a 17. You're shooting a 19. You're shooting an 18. All right. So it's like you're a few hundredths of a second off of full auto speed, and you're pissed about it. You think you can go faster. Like, they still think it's slow. And it's like, no, yeah. But that's because they were visually dialed into the sight and super tuned in and in touch with the whole process as that was happening. That's the tool that to me, that's what predictive shooting is used for, is to develop those skills. It's not a stage execution technique.
Yeah, for sure. So
rant off.
Yeah. Where are we at here? Oh, man. Your gun belt not going through any belt loops or attached to anything that goes through any belt loops. Just like
not a fat joke.
A belt around your waist with a holster and some mag pouches on it.
Yeah.
Just not actually secured to anything.
Just like Batman.
just like utility belt style.
Yeah. And there's something to be said with running what you brung, but like, man, you're gonna, if this sport is something you enjoy, like, you're gonna have so much better of an experience, and you're gonna do so much better if you invest in the proper belt equipment. Like, it's the second hardest thing to get people to invest in.
And it's like, that's like the one piece of gear that I still use that I started with is the belt that I started with.
I saw my first one.
I went to a match. I shot my very first pistol match. I went, I'm going to do this more. I looked around at what everybody had, everybody who was a 3-gun shooter, which is what I wanted to get into, had a Safariland ELS belt. So that's what I bought. And, you know, I'd probably still buy the same belt today. I'd maybe get like one of those cool little ratchet systems or something like that. But I still have that belt today. Like the exact same belt. It's still doing totally fine. It's got a bajillion miles on it. It is the only piece of gear that I have that I've had since my second match. Every other stitch of gear I have has changed. And I don't even have any gear that I had during like my third year of shooting. Like everything has changed, but the belt is still with me. It's a good investment. But even if you don't have a belt specifically for shooting, put the belt that you do have through your belt loops. So when you like, I don't know, draw your gun, your belt doesn't try to ride up your waistline with it.
Put some support on that.
Pretty
thing.
nice when you want to pull the gun out of the holster and have the holster stay where it was at. Anything else is just unnecessary.
Also unnecessary is any Charlie's Angels like movement around the range. When you move from box to box, if you like temple index that thing and prance around like Charlize Theron, like it's not a good look. It's very Gary.
Very, very Gary.
But somehow people all do it. People all do it.
And also scares the shit out of the ROs.
Yeah.
And even if you didn't necessarily break the 180, sometimes it's super hard to tell. And I like to really try to make it as obvious as possible to the ROs that I am in control of the gun and it is pointed in a generally downrange direction as often as possible. So
well, and it's kind of ironic because they're doing it because it's a super NRA thing to do, like to exaggerate having the muzzle in a safe direction, which they've been taught is straight up or straight down. So they go ahead and put that thing up by their ear. And really, it's like, it's safe and everything, kind of, as long as you don't lose the juice over the berm. But like at the same time, like it's excessive movement. Like there's
lose the juice.
There's no good reason to do it, other than you've seen it in movies. And double tap on prancing. Like everyone when they start shooting, they like. I wish we were on a video medium so I could demonstrate this for you.
Yeah.
But everyone, especially women. Not hating on you ladies, but women do this. But to get people to just run with a gun or just walk, like duck walking, is very hard. At first, they will try to sneak around like they're sneaking up on a deer or they're a detective in some whodunit movie. Like they get up on their toes and they prance around to the next position. Because it's like super naughty that they're moving around with a gun.
They look like they have thumbtacks in the heels of their shoes.
Yes.
And they're trying not to step on them.
Yep.
Yeah. Getting used to just like moving with a gun. Like one of the things that I'll do when I'm introducing people to the sport, I'll usually just bring them over to the house because I have a nice big basement here and we can like run around and dry fire and I got targets up all over the place and it makes it easy. I'll just, get an unloaded gun in a nice sterile environment in their hand and show them how to do basic movements while keeping the gun pointed in the downrange area. So like running uprange, running left, running right, all those things. And then just almost have like, I'll just set up some like weird movement pattern thing that's almost like line sprints in basketball or something. And just get them used to like moving with a gun in their hand and knowing, I can just move anywhere and keep the gun pointed in that direction. Like I can run like I normally run. I just do it with the gun in my hand and I don't point the gun anywhere. Like it's very weird that as soon as you put a gun in somebody's hand, they don't know how to run anymore.
Oh yeah. And
yeah.
I mean, and I started hunting long before I started competitive shooting. And like, man, when you actually were like, had a loaded gun, when it was actually loaded, like you get the tinglies up and down. I mean, the hair on the back of my neck stood up, because I'm like, we're actually deer hunting now. Like I have a round in the chamber. It takes a while to get used to it. Now, I mean, I live with loaded guns now. Like, it doesn't even excite me anymore. I'm probably too comfortable with it at this point.
Yeah, 100%. All right. Maybe the most Gary thing ever. So I saw a great video that was a white belt jiu-jitsu test. And it was, I don't remember everything that was in it, but one of the things was like, read this name. And it was, all the Brazilians, they're all Hoist, but with an R. So it's like, read this name. And the guy was like, Royce Gracie. He's like, here's your white belt. and anyways, mispronouncing Jerry's last name. It's not Miklick. It is not Miklick. It's Michalak.
Or Mickey Lick.
Michalak. Yeah, it's not Mickey Lick. It's not Miklick. Put some respect on the man's name, for God's sakes.
He's our Lord and
Just
Savior.
Watch a video where he introduces himself. Listen to how he says his own name. Repeat after him. He's not fucking it up. I promise you.
Yeah. Gary's of the world. I promise you, everybody at the match has heard of Jerry Miklick before. So maybe, but you don't need to drop that reference until it's time. Like everybody knows.
Yeah.
Just say Jerry.
Yeah,
everybody knows who Jerry is.
Yeah, for sure. All right, homeboy, you're up.
I was gonna do that one, so I haven't read down far enough. This one. I know this person doesn't consume, so I was gonna say I had an experience with this, but when someone is trying to challenge a call on a target, citing that the sights were on the target when the shot went off. I couldn't have possibly missed that long range target because the sights were dead on it when I pulled the trigger.
That would never happen.
Oh my God.
That would never happen.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Someone who was very close to me, they looked me dead in the, he was super pissed that I was telling him he missed a target. He's like, "That's impossible. That's impossible. I had my 300-yard hash mark right on that target when I shot." I'm like, well, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, it didn't hit it.
Jesus. So I was expecting like a Bay Stage thing. Like I was running past this and I wanted to double on that swinger style, but on long range, my God, so that is a place where you can gain real time on a long range stage. If you are confident enough in your sight picture and your break, your trigger break, that like you can break a shot at 300, 400, 500 yards and be like, yep, that's going to land. And you can leave that target and start looking for the next target while the bullet's still in flight. Because if you think about the amount of time it takes to fire around, have the bullet get there, have the bullet indicate on the target in some way, and then have either the sound get back to you or the RO call hit, there is like a gap there measured sometimes in whole seconds, right? So if you are racing at the top, the way that you can go faster is you can break that shot and be like, yep, it's going to be there. And you can just move on to the next target. Now there's two risks with this. Obvious risk number one, you miss that target. Now you need to eat that whole gun transition going back to the target. Thing number two is you can actually outrun an RO.
It's very easy to outrun an RO.
Enough, yeah, I have definitely outrun ROs before, and like I've literally shot a stage where I finished shooting the long range and I was 2 targets in front of the RO, and I just left, and then came back and I'm like, hey man, like this is what I did, and just like explained it, and he's like, I believe you. And I was like, okay, good. But yeah, I have had that happen where I've like outrun an RO, and like as I'm shooting the last target, I'm like, he is definitely not with me yet. Do I wait and shoot it again, or do I just go? Which is kind of a terrible place to be, and you will definitely be thinking about what's about to happen.
Not kind of, it is.
The whole rest of the stage.
It is. Yeah, it is a terrible place to be.
It is a terrible place to be, and so like you need to think real hard about that. So I have also slowed down to make sure I don't outrun an RO just not to be in that place. Absolutely.
On the match director side, I have encountered that with, we'll say, top 10 people. And that's somewhat playing the game, all right? Because like the game as it currently exists, humans have to call the hits on the long range target. So you kind of have to like, you have to shoot it in a way that they can call it. All right. So like, if you shoot it so fast, you're kind of hoping that they're going to keep up with you. And like Adam's saying, you're taking a risk that they might not. Or if you're going to do something super spicy and you want them to get it, like help a brother out, turn around and say, hey, here's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Pay attention.
100%.
You know?
Yeah, 100%.
And also, if you come up with some like janky engagement order, like if it takes more than 2 sentences for you to describe the order to another person who doesn't know you, that's probably a bad idea. Like right to left, left to right, near to far. Those are the options.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Exactly correct. And then, so one of the things that I'll do when I'm looking at that and thinking about how to shoot it is I'll actually look at what kind of glass the RO is using in order to call hits.
Or if they have glass.
If they have glass. If they are using a very high-powered spotting scope, I will sandbag myself on the rifle shooting because I know that I'm probably going to be able to transition from target to target faster than they are. Because it's super hard to like pan across on a 60 power spotting scope and find a target. Where if they have like nice binoculars, I'm like, oh, sweet. They can see all 4 of these targets in one field of view. I can just rage through this thing. So I do actually pay attention to that kind of stuff if it's on a stage where I think I'm going to be able to like shoot the long range pretty aggressively.
Yeah. And it's something like, as on the administration side, it's something we're always looking to be as best as we can and improve where we can. But as a competitor, you have to realize that, or think of it, especially if you see a Gary RO with a super high magnification scope and he's trying to pan to all the targets, you have to just look at that as a part of the challenge of the stage. It's like the universe decided that this is the guy that's going to score you on this stage. You kind of have to accept that as a challenge, just like the wind and the shaky bridge that they're making you shoot off of. You know, like you gotta. It's the boundaries within that you got to play if you want to score well. I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying for you to get the best score that you can, you should be cognizant of it.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Speaking of long range stuff, shooting the long range portion of a stage near to far, regardless of target presentation.
Absolutely.
So
total Gary move.
Like, let's say, so on both of the 2 of the long range stages that we shot at the match, we like the one off the rooftop, for example, I think the targets left to right were like, I'm just going to round it off, like 300, 200, 90, 350, 130, and 400. It was like something like that. But so if you just go left to right, you're going to have to change your holds a lot. Some people have a hard time like changing, they can only change their holds linearly. So they change their shooting sequence in a super random order. So then they would have shot like third target from the left, then farthest target on the right, then second target from the left, then third target from the right, and have this huge back and forth. Not only are you making it super hard on yourself with all these really big gun transitions, but you're also making it super hard on the ROs because nobody in their right mind would do that. And it's way easier for ROs to just pan left or pan right, or in those cases where all the targets are like kind of in a line. Sure, then it makes sense to shoot it near to far. But if they're spread out over a 20 degrees, angle, and they're in totally random order, do not, for the love of God, shoot them near to far. That's a terrible, terrible idea.
Yeah, especially on the big field courses at the bigger matches. I mean, like the Rock at Reveille Peak in Texas, don't shoot near to far. Right to left, left to right. Those are your options.
Yep. Yep, 100%.
Excessive dropping of mags on the ground when you show clear. Like if you just yeet a mag onto the ground to show clear. Like anyone who excessively drops mags on the ground when they don't have to does not respect what the ground can do to mess up your magazines.
No, not at all.
Super Jerry move.
There's I used to ski with a good friend of mine out here who moved up to Canada. He was a avalanche forecaster, and his saying was, instantly how experienced somebody is in the mountains by what they do with their gloves when they take them off. And so like it's like if you take off your gloves and then you put them in your pockets, or you put them down your jacket, or you put them in your pack, like, oh, that person probably at least has their shit together a little bit. If you take off your gloves and you lay them in the snow, nope. That person has never put on a pair of gloves full of snow before.
Jerry.
That is not fun. Mags are the same way, man. Take that last mag, put it back in your pouch so you don't have to run the brush down it. Nobody wants to do that. Also, dude, slapping the mags during the reload.
Oh, yeah.
Giving it that extra fanny tap on the way in. Just seat that sucker in one nice clean motion and be done with it, man.
Yeah, it doesn't have apple bottom jeans. You just put it in there one time. All right.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Super Gary move, showing up with an A2 flash hider.
Yep. That's classic. I think, yeah, you better be like rocking some Brian Nelson action or maybe some Cardi B. Did you see the frickin' rifle that Cardi B beat me with at PCSO 2 Gun Nats?
No.
How many times have you watched Black Hawk Down? Like
all
just
of them.
More or less than 10. Yeah. All yeah, exactly. All the
What
time.
scene would you like me to start reciting from?
Yeah, exactly. So, you know the rifles the Delta guys have? They have the carry handle with the red dot mounted on top of it. He was rocking that action.
He's rocking a Gordy, huh?
Yeah, he was rocking the Gary, the Randy Shugart, Gary Gordon style rifle for sure. I guess Randy had the M14, but I think Hoot was rocking that guy. But anyways, yeah, Cardi B beat me with that. Now, in my defense, he beat me because I forgot to shoot at 2 targets. That doesn't make me better or smarter. That just means that I could have beat him, and I should have. but
Gary's do find a nut once in a while, you know.
Yes, exactly. But man, yeah, he shot the like the cop car stage that had the one where you didn't shoot a target, that had that like super tight right lean on it.
Yeah. Thanks for reminding me.
He beat me, but yeah, I just wanted to make sure that you didn't forget.
Oh, I didn't.
He beat me. He beat me by 10 seconds on that stage. And I'd never met Cardi B before the freaking match. And I was like, what in the shit? Like how? And so finally I just like, I started asking her, I was like, who knows Cardi B? And like, you know, like everybody
Is it
down
an
there
alias
does.
or his real name?
No, his name's,
it's actually a play on his real name, but
yeah, it's like Josh Cardenas. I think.
I was like, of all the vocalists that I would use for an alias, I don't know that's the one I would pick, but like, no, it actually like plays into his name.
Yeah, it works really good. Anyways, so I was like, hey, somebody who knows him, please have him text me his freaking stage footage for this. And then like it came up and you start with the rifle on the trunk, and I saw the rifle in his like hat cam, and I was like, ah, shit. I was like, he beat me that bad with that rifle. I was like embarrassed, dude.
Jerry gonna get you.
Yeah, that hurt my feelings, dude. That got me right in the feels. Let's see. We're right about an hour here. So me and Amax have ourselves a little conundrum. As we're making this list, we were like, you know what? This is going to be more than an episode because we still have quite a few things on here. And so this might just kind of become the opening salvo for episodes going forward. We'll just maybe drop a Gary of the day on you as we go out. Are there any more here that you want to pick out before we leave here, or do you think we've put a good dent in it to give people a good idea of what we're talking about when you say Gary?
I think we gave them a taste of Gary of the day. We'll save some good ones for future episodes if people want to hear.
Yeah. I think if the list gets whittled down as fast as we can bring them in, then they'll just be a nice little intro segment. And if they're not, then we'll just have to bust out another one of these and rattle off another 50.
Yeah, right.
But
because man, if I start picking some of these out, we'll go for another half hour.
Exactly. Yeah, at least that. And I mean, this is the list that me and Maxwell came up with in about 5 minutes drinking margaritas. So every once in a while, Maxwell will just be sitting there sipping away at his giant. He got the big margarita at this restaurant, and it was, it wasn't a gallon, but it was a half a gallon.
It was larger than advertised. Yes.
Yes, it was. I got I'll just get like the standard margarita. The standard margarita was maybe the only margarita that I've ever had that was bigger than this margarita was the Shermarita at Shermer's in Pullman, Washington on my 21st birthday, which was like the giant, ridiculous birthday margarita. Maxwell's just like, this is on the menu margarita was that size. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, it's the size you would want if you have a bad server and you're worried she's not going to come back. Like when she brings you that, you'll be good.
Yeah, you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. But yeah, so every once in a while, Adam would be sitting there sipping his margarita and do half of a spit take in his glass and then blurt out another one that just like popped in his
mid-story.
head. So
Riser would be telling me some banger of a story, and I'm like, wait, write this down.
You write this down really quick. Yeah, for sure. Oh man, yeah, I'm excited for more of these. So if you guys have any Gary of the Day stuff that you have seen, please send it to us. Send it in a chat, send it in an email, hit us up in our DMs. I am Adam Riser pretty much everywhere on social media. Mr. Maxwell here is 3Gun AMAX pretty much everywhere on social media. The email for the podcast is ontheperfpodcast@gmail.com. Adam, why did you add the word podcast into ontheperfpodcast@gmail.com? Why didn't you just put on the perf, man? You don't like brevity, as the dude would say?
I think I was copying another podcast and it just like rolled off the tongue or something. I don't know. It seemed like a good idea at the time.
Fair enough. Either way, it's all the words ontheperfpodcast@gmail.com. Throw us some Gary things that you have seen. You can leave names too. We'll leave them out, but if you want to,
if you want us to know,
some shade,
leave us the name.
Yeah, if you want us to know, leave names because we like to.
But
know.
we'll protect the innocent.
Yes, we will protect the innocent. we've already protected lots of innocents today.
Yeah, actually we have.
So, yeah, 100%. And and if there's any other things that you guys want us to talk about, leave those up as well. And you hit the ball our ways, and we'll head it back to you, and we'll have ourselves a nice little podcast here. You got anything on the way out, Maxwell, that you need the people to know about?
Registration is open for Multi-Gun Nationals and the Jeff Kirkwald Shotgun Qualifier in August. So go ahead, get signed up for that. We're looking for a few more staff people too. If you are a credentialed USPSA RO and are interested in getting in on that, we might entertain that as well. So hit us up directly if you're interested in that.
And there is also a steel pistol match running concurrent to that shotgun match, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Right?
So the shotgun match, you'd shoot the AM schedule, and then on the PM schedule, an abbreviated version of the match will be able to be shot with a pistol. So there will be like 6 stages or so falling steel with the pistol. So you can have all the shooting. As much shooting as you can stand.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I always appreciate more shooting when I get onto a plane and fly somewhere with my guns. I want to do as much of the shooting as I can.
I've not come away from a match thinking I had my fill of shooting since the Iron Man ceased to exist. And even then, I probably still wanted a little bit more.
Yeah, 100%. Is it even a match if you come home with ammo? All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. We sure did. And, keep those overlays handy. This is On the Perf. We'll see you guys out there.
Bye-bye.